Welcome, fellow explorers, to Project Opono. In the last episode, we discussed how the simple body plans of Opono adapted to the evolution of the first predators. In this episode, we will discuss two of the most diverse biomes on the planet, the underwater jungles and the reefs. Before we begin, I must state something that will be important later. All of the clades shown in this episode will be present in each of the biomes. So a clade shown to evolve in one habitat may have representatives in the other. So without further ado, let's explore these biomes and what organisms inhabit them. We will start our exploration in the underwater jungle. The underwater jungle is an environment very similar to terrestrial rainforests on Earth, being very warm and tropical. This means it will have comparable diversity to terrestrial rainforests. This biome may be situated in the warmest waters of the equator. This will allow plants to grow here in abundance. The main plants found here will be the Thalasphilo and Xylostele. Perhaps one branch of Xylostele evolves into one of the largest plants on the planet, becoming something similar to trees on Earth. Although, since they are aquatic, they don't actually qualify as a true tree. One notable quirk of these plants are the blue fruits near the base of their trunk. These fruits are very simple, having a waxy outer layer to keep their flesh intact. Their flesh is very sweet and is similar in texture to jelly. At the center, the fruits have a hard stone that has an outer layer which dissolves in water. This stone contains the plant's seeds, with each stone having up to 4 seeds. These seeds will then be transported via the current to new areas for them to grow, forming vast jungles. They are called the arbor flava. They grow up to 10 meters tall. These arbor flava jungles may be so dense that sunlight may not be able to reach all the way down to the seabed. This isn't a problem for Thalasphilo, however, as they float on the ocean's surface. However, Thalasphilo may eventually start to diversify due to competition from other members of its species. One way Thalasphilo may collect more sunlight is by having a larger leaf. But instead of growing a wider leaf, they may evolve to segment it instead. However, this larger leaf may require more nutrients to sustain. So these plants may evolve roots. These roots may be attached to a bulb where the bulk of the plant's nutrients are stored. We will call these plants the Mimetosphylo, and they grow up to 5 feet wide. After Mimetosphylo evolves, the ancestral Thalasphilo may be outcompeted in more tropical waters. This may result in their colonies being forced northward into more temperate waters. However, another branch of Thalasphilo may be able to survive in the packed surface waters of the equator. Due to the rounded shape of the Mimetosphylo leaves, they may leave small gaps between individual plants. This may result in one of the strangest Thalasphilo clades to ever exist. These plants may not grow outward. Instead, they may grow downward. The leaf of these plants may stay the same width as their ancestors, although they may grow to be much longer than before. However, due to how heavy their leaf now is, they may need to evolve a larger air sac to stay afloat. This air sac may be filled with much more air, keeping these plants aloft. We will call these plants the Macrophylo. Their leaf grows up to 5 feet long and 15 inches wide. Back below the waves, other plants may need to adapt to the lower light levels of the seabed. Coupled with a dense canopy of arbor flava leaves above, plants on the seabed may struggle to grow. However, there is one way smaller plants may be able to survive here. Epiphytes are plants that grow on other plants. Perhaps a particularly hardy relative of the epigeostle evolves to grow on the branches of the arbor flava. However, even their dark yellow pigment might not be able to collect enough light for them to survive. So perhaps they evolve a blue pigment to take in as much light as they can to not starve to death. To stay attached to their host, they may evolve to burrow their roots into the host plant's body. Perhaps these plants give their host a portion of the sugars they produce in exchange for the host plant's immune system not attacking. However, these plants may also use their blue color for defense against herbivores. They may adapt the sticky outer layer of their distant Thalasphilo ancestors into a slime similar to that of a hagfish. This slime may be released from special pores on the plant that open when the plant gets bitten. This slime may clog up the gills and mouth of the herbivore, but this might not be enough. So this slime may evolve tiny crystals similar to those of pineapples or kiwis, adding another layer of defense. These plants may grow all along their host plant, enveloping it in a dense covering of blue leaves and stems. We will call these plants the Laspis philo, and they grow up to 10 inches tall. Meet the Stelomimidas, descendants of the Macrosoma. These creatures closely mimic the stems of young arbor flava. They rarely leave their burrows, only leaving if their burrow becomes unsafe or if they need to mate. When still, they are indistinguishable from the young arbor flava, allowing them to feed without fear of attack. But sometimes this isn't enough to deter predators. This is why when they spot a predator, they retract into their burrow until the predator passes it by. They grow up to half a meter long and live up to 17 years. Another equally camouflaged animal is the Aono. These creatures are related to the Parvipsari. They mimic the color of the arbor flava leaves, with their tail mimicking the leaf itself. This allows them to not be noticed by predators. These creatures swim in schools of up to 25 individuals. Interestingly, these schools have a social hierarchy. There are 1 to 2 dominant males with up to 15 breeding females. The rest of the school only stick around for safety in numbers. Whenever a dominant female or male dies, the rest of the school has the chance to rise up the ranks. Interestingly, the males and females of this clade exhibit sexual dimorphism. The males have a tail spike and pink fins. This allows them to be spotted easier against the yellow foliage. These creatures grow up to 1 foot long and live up to 10 years. One of the largest creatures in the underwater jungle may evolve from the Aono. These creatures currently eat the leaves and fruits of the arbor flava. However, nothing has evolved to eat the stems of the plant. Perhaps one branch of Aono evolves to feed on these stems. These creatures may evolve sharp teeth at the ends of their tentacles to pull off strands of the arbor flava stem and pass it into the mouth. Due to their nutrient-poor diet, they may evolve a more complex digestive system to be able to extract as much of the little nutrients as possible. This may cause these creatures to grow much larger than their ancestors. This may also make them much slower swimmers to conserve energy. However, they may supplement their diet with the fruits of the arbor flava and small animals. We will call these animals the Stelophagos. They grow up to 5 meters long and live for up to 20 years. Up in the canopy, we find the Mimiciphalin. These strange creatures are descendants of the Diabrachid. Mimiciphalin has evolved to mimic the leaves of the arbor flava by using its tentacles to hang from a branch. This makes it less likely to be spotted by predators. This defense strategy is called defensive mimicry, where an organism evolves to look like something that it isn't to avoid predation. Interestingly, these creatures have moved their eyes to their main bodies to prevent them from being damaged while climbing. While most species in this clade are herbivores, some use their tentacles to grab small animals to eat. They grow up to 16 inches and live for up to 10 years. With all of these new herbivores, predators are bound to follow. Perhaps a relative of the Anedrosculi evolves to slither up the stems and branches of the arbor flava. These creatures have evolved an orange skin color to help camouflage themselves within the trees. Their tongue has evolved a blue tip, mimicking a young arbor flava fruit. Once prey comes within range, they impale them with their tongue before slithering down the arbor flava and eating. After it has finished eating, it will slither back up the tree, repeating the cycle. They mainly feed on the Mimiciphalin and the Aono. We will call these creatures the Olisthomama. They grow up to 1 meter long and live for up to 15 years. Meet the Machariodonta, relatives of the Longacada. These creatures are one of the largest predators in the underwater jungle, with the adults being nearly the same size as an adult Stelophagos. These creatures have evolved a strange way of killing their prey. Instead of grappling with their prey like their distant Carchariapsari relatives, these creatures have opted for a quick puncture approach. The tentacles of these creatures are each tipped with a single, knife-like tooth. When these creatures come within range of their prey, they pull back their tentacles, storing energy like a bow. And with a lightning-fast motion, they stab their prey, killing them almost instantly. These creatures grow up to 4 meters long and live for up to 17 years. With all these large creatures roaming the oceans, some smaller species might take notice. Perhaps a small species of Phalaenosoma evolves to clean larger creatures. They may do this by using the filter-feeding hairs on their tentacles like toothbrushes, cleaning off the dead skin and parasites of larger animals. To be more noticeable to potential hosts, they may evolve a bright blue skin color to stand out against the yellow vegetation. However, this still might not be enough. So they may evolve a rattle at the end of one of their tentacles. This rattle will be similar to that of a rattlesnake rattle. Whenever it approaches a potential host, it shakes its tentacle, producing a slight wave, along with a sound. However, if this animal tries to clean a predator, the predator might try to eat it. But it is in the predator's best interest to be cleaned, so these cleaners might be spared. We will call these creatures the Catharapsari. They grow up to 20 inches long and live for up to 7 years. Meet the Agelidanopsari, descendants of the Longacauda. These strange creatures are one of the weirdest animals in the underwater jungle. They have lost the ability to swim. Instead, their side fins have evolved into very muscular flippers, allowing them to drag their heavy bodies along the seafloor. Their tail fin is used to kick up sand, preventing predators from attacking them while they feed. These creatures are highly intelligent for their size, being able to form social bonds with one another. Interestingly, the males and females exhibit different social behaviors. The males travel in solitude, being highly antisocial. Females, on the other hand, travel in maternal herds of up to 7 individuals, not including young. When breeding season arrives, males compete for females, resulting in more than one male mating with a single female. These creatures are similar to cows on Earth, being very large and bulky. They feed on arbor flava fruits, stellophyto, epigeostal, and low-growing branches. They grow up to 3.5 meters long and live for up to 23 years. Another biome with comparable diversity to the underwater jungle is the reefs. These reefs may be formed primarily of Panoplicima. However, different clades of Panoplicima may start to compete with one another for access to marine snow, causing them to start evolving new ways to not compete with one another. The simplest option to avoid competition for food is to have a smaller body size, as creatures with smaller bodies need less food than animals with large body sizes. So perhaps a clade of Panoplicima evolves to be smaller to avoid competition with larger species. However, this will make them easier prey for Dinodibrachid. To solve this issue, they may evolve to have their main body and shell hidden under the sand, with only their tentacles and eyes sticking out of the ground. To blend in with their environment, they may evolve a yellow coloration to blend in with the sand and local vegetation. We will call these well-hidden Panoplicima the Cryphoglyphos. They grow up to 10 inches tall and live for up to 8 years. With the evolution of Cryphoglyphos, some Phtyerobrachid may evolve to feed on them. However, due to the hidden nature of the Cryphoglyphos, these creatures may need to evolve a new way of getting them out of their shells. They may accomplish this by evolving their bottom tentacles into skewers, to stab into their prey and pull them out of their shells. Along with this, they may have a bony offshoot at the ends of their tentacles, lined with little barbs to keep their prey on their tentacles. These creatures may also have a pale yellow skin color to blend in with the seabed. Along with this, they may swim in schools of up to 16 individuals, for safety in numbers. We will call these dangerous creatures the Souvlakazagoni. They grow up to 25 inches long and live for up to 15 years. With the threat posed by Souvlakazagoni, a clade related to the Cryphoglyphos may evolve a way to counter them. These creatures may evolve to be larger, with the largest species growing up to 7 meters in height. Along with their increased size, their shell may thicken, being twice as thick as before. While these creatures retain their marine snow diet, their height may allow them to reach swarms of Micropinae, adding an extra source of nourishment to their diet. Due to how large these animals are, they may be the perfect place for other species of Panoplicima and Dokiosoma to grow on. Due to this, we will call these structures Panoplicima corals, despite them not being related to Earth coral. These animals are called the Corallisoma, and they live for up to 20 years. Due to the density of Corallisoma and Cryphoclyphos, the Stellophyto, Epigeostal, and Xylostelmae struggle to grow in the reefs due to lack of room. However, one descendant of Photinostroma might be able to find a way to counteract the lack of space. These algae-like plants may adopt a more kelp-like body plan, with thin leaves to be able to grow in even the narrowest spaces. These plants may convergently evolve a hold-fast-like structure similar to kelp on Earth. This will keep them anchored to the places they grow. As these plants spread, they may eventually outcompete any Stellophyto and Epigeostal species that manage to survive in the reefs, driving the reef-dwelling species into extinction. Without any competition, these plants will become the dominant vegetation in the reefs, allowing herbivores to move in. We will call them the Phyceophyto. They grow up to 15 inches tall. Meet the Phoresosa, relatives of the Diabrachid. These creatures are unrecognizable compared to their Diabrachid relatives. These creatures have completely lost their eye stalks, relying on their tongue to grab and process food. At the end of their tongue is a sharp calcium sickle to slice through large amounts of Phyceophyto. This makes it easier for them to eat it. These creatures have evolved the skin on their back into a thick exoskeleton with segments to allow for more flexibility. This exoskeleton protects them from Souvlaki, allowing them to forage for food without fear of attack. Interestingly, these creatures exhibit a basic form of parental care, with the mother Phoresosa finding and slicing up food for her young. These creatures still have the snail-like foot of their ancestors, allowing them to crawl along the seabed in search of food. They grow up to 30 inches long and live for up to 12 years. With the evolution of these new armored creatures, Dinodabrachid may need to find a way around their defenses. While they may start off by flipping Phoresosa onto their back to expose their soft underbelly, they could eventually evolve a brand new way of getting their food. These creatures may evolve an extra digit at the end of their tentacles, almost like an extra finger, to grab their prey and tear it into two. These digits may be tipped with sharp claws to stab into their prey and subdue them before they tear it in half. To camouflage within the reefs, they have evolved a green skin color. This allows them to ambush their prey. They primarily feed on Phoresosa, Diabrachid, and Dachyosoma. We will call these strange creatures the Schizimobrachid. They grow up to 3 feet long and live for up to 19 years. To counteract these new predators, a clade related to the Mimiciphalin may evolve to mimic a fallen leaf to avoid being eaten. Their already flat, leaf-shaped bodies may make this easy to accomplish. As long as they stay still, they will not be spotted. Along with this, they may evolve a muscular fin on their back that they can use to kick up sand and bury themselves. This, coupled with a yellow skin color, may make them virtually invisible to predators. However, if they are spotted by a predator, they may use their back fin to fling sand into the predator's eyes, giving them precious moments to escape. While most species in this clade are herbivores, some species are ambush predators, using their jumping abilities and their tentacles to jump at and grab prey. We will call these strange Mimiciphalin the Epipedisoma. They grow up to 15 inches long and live for up to 10 years. With the abundance of herbivores the Phyceophyto attracts, some ancestral Dachyosoma may start to take notice. Perhaps one branch of Dachyosoma evolves to mimic Phyceophyto, with their feeding tentacles flattening out to mimic their leaves. Along with this, they may evolve a bright yellow skin color to camouflage themselves with the dense groves of Phyceophyto. This evolutionary strategy is called aggressive mimicry, where a predator evolves to mimic something in hopes of attracting prey. By mimicking the Phyceophyto, the Dachyosoma are almost guaranteed a kill. This may result in their numbers growing exponentially. We will call these aggressive mimics the Analithestio. They grow up to 16 inches tall and live for up to 7 years. With how many predators inhabit the reefs, the ancestral Dachyosoma may start to dwindle in number. This may result in them being pushed to the brink of extinction. However, they may be spared from extinction by one peculiar development. Perhaps these creatures evolve toxins to dissuade predators from eating them. However, this toxin won't be any good if they die in the process. They may solve this issue by evolving many different bright and vibrant color patterns to stand out against the yellow vegetation. On Earth, toxic animals usually have bright red or yellow warning coloration to stand out against the green plants. However, on Opono, this wouldn't work as the vegetation is yellow. So these creatures' warning coloration may be made up of bright blues, greens, and purples. This makes them very noticeable to predators. With this adaptation, these Dakiosoma may be spared from extinction, allowing them to diversify once again. We will call them the Toxicosoma. They grow up to 1 foot tall and live for up to 10 years. Up until now, nothing has been feeding on the Corallisoma, allowing their population to spiral out of control. So perhaps a clade of Carchariapsari evolves to eat the Corallisoma. These creatures may evolve stronger jaw muscles, along with a beak to crush through the shells of Corallisoma. Although these creatures may also feed on any other small animals that inhabit the reefs. It is for this reason these creatures are the apex predators of the reefs they call home. These animals have evolved a highly specialized way of communicating with one another. They have evolved an organ similar to the melon of beluga whales. This will help reverberate their deep, booming growls, which they use to communicate with one another. These creatures travel in packs of up to 5 individuals, hunting for any prey they can find. They have also convergently evolved a method of camouflage similar to every other animal in the reefs. They have an orange skin color to blend in with the Corallisoma they feed on, allowing them to ambush prey without them noticing. Despite the complex environment of the reefs, these creatures may still be extremely fast swimmers, being one of the fastest clades in the reefs. We will call these creatures the Ramphistodontia. They grow up to 3 meters long and live for up to 25 years. From the strange Gelidinopsari to the speedy Ramphistodontia, the organisms of Opono have conquered every niche available in these warm waters. In the next episode, we will see how these clades adapt to the freezing polar oceans of Opono. Special thanks to all the fan artists on Discord who made fun art for this episode. You guys helped me out a lot with your illustrations. See you in the next episode.